Hello! Today we are reviewing the original Heat 1 Civic Cruiser in Need for Speed World. This design should look familiar from the likes of Need for Speed Most Wanted, Need for Speed Carbon, and Need for Speed Undercover. I'm trying to get my mouse lined up so I can do that. There we go. Click around so we can have a smooth scroll of the vehicle, see it from all angles. Yeah, this was used in some of the earlier Need for Speed titles. It was originally featured in the game files of Need for Speed World, and then I believe by the time it was out of beta and just regularly available, they'd replaced it with the Heat 1 and 2 Civic Cruisers I've already reviewed, the Dodge Charger variant. I honestly think that one's a lot prettier, it looks nicer, the design is more interesting. This one is fairly low poly, it's a little bit more bland, the design is simpler, and its age really shows because like that 911 sticker on the side, the police thing says that, you can really see some of the low quality, I guess, graphics of its design. Anyway, so this is the Paramount Police version, so from Need for Speed Carbon. Again, it was featured in a few other games. Was originally in the files for Need for Speed World. Brief context, if you haven't watched any of the other videos about these vehicles, these AI police cars that I'm reviewing, they're available on Sparkserver to donors who have donated $5 or more. I am not specifically encouraging you to do that or affiliated with Sparkserver. It's just how I accessed them, and I haven't seen anyone else reviewing these, so I thought it would be fun too. All of that said, again, I've already sort of half complained about its low poly design, which is just a result of its age and it being, well, imported from those other games because it ended up getting removed from Need for Speed World. Simple, memorable design. And then another strange thing in Sparkserver specifically, this one where you can, again, donors can get these, blah, blah, blah. This replaces, unlike any other server, the Heat 1 and 2 Charger I've already reviewed. You don't see those, AIs using those in roadblocks, pursuits, team escapes, etc. You just see these, and it's Unmarked counterpart. Also, talking of Unmarked counterpart, there won't be a video about the Unmarked counterpart of this because you can't buy it. I'm not sure why, but for some reason they decided not to make it an available vehicle. All of those things said and done, let's go take a look in free roam. So here's our vehicle. I have damage to turn on so I can crash real quick, get my license plate back. Strange thing about AI vehicles, whenever a player is using them on any server in any way, that's a thing. Anyway, damage off, license plate stays, lights and sirens work, and yeah, here it is. So comparing performance and that sort of thing, we're not doing a super detailed run through like, a complicated, very serious review, but it's similar to the two cars I've already reviewed thus far. I promise the future videos will be more interesting because some of those cars are a lot more different. Yeah, it really just sort of behaves like the two previous ones I've reviewed. Its performance stats are actually quite similar too, if you look here and then compare those numbers to these, which are identical to each other than the design. Anyway, a little bit different. Your overall is at 776 instead of 784. That seems fair because it feels a little bit of a tad slower, not too noticeable. Does have a tendency to oversteer on sharp corners if you brake too hard, like I mentioned with the previous two cars. Other than that, performs and behaves fairly well. It's not my favorite to use, but I'm going to go through all of the cars available in this capacity. So, let's go do a race. If you take a brief look at the bottom right corner, you'll see the RPM meter doesn't quite stretch like the other one did. I do have them modified the same way with skill mods, so I'm not quite sure why that's the case. Probably just a little glitchy thing from how it was converted or whatever. I'm not sure how the developers did this for this server, but proud of them for doing it. Ooh, I'm not doing well. I just smacked him up the side of the wall, and I'm getting stuck behind some other people. We're not going to focus on skill, though. We're just demonstrating the car itself. So, I forget if I said this already, but I kind of prefer the Rockport design, even though I've never played Need for Speed Most Wanted. I did play Carbon when it came out when I was, much younger. And, yeah, so this is a design I'm familiar with, yet having seen the Rockport design, though similar, I think it's better. Anywho, yeah, I would... Also, again, along those lines, I already mentioned this part, but I do wish the Unmarked variant of this was accessible as a vehicle that you could buy for donors. Something I haven't mentioned, if you are curious, by chance, when you have donated and you do that, they are free. Oh! Well, that was entertaining. Okay, moving on from that, I think I was saying that the cars themselves are free. They cost $0 when... like in-game cash, like the 77 million I have up in the top right corner. It doesn't cost anything. You can redeem an infinite amount of them, blah, 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 blah. And then, go back to all my disclaimers about I'm not specifically encouraging you to do that. So, anywho, that was fun doing a little corkscrew jump in this car. I was not expecting that to happen. And it looks like overall I'm not going to do too good at this race, so that's okay. Afterwards, we'll take it to a team escape. I'll show you how its collision force and, you know, weight in collisions is fairly similar to those two cars we've done before. So, following this, we'll start seeing some of the stranger accessible AI vehicles, and when I say stranger, it's as a result of, well, some of their limits and actual capabilities and some other things. So we'll get to that after this video here. Did I get first place? I did. That was weird. It didn't look like I did for a moment. Let's crash through these windows. Da-da-da-da-da. $2 million. How lovely. Let's do a team escape. I'm going to choose compromised? Sure, compromised. Single player. Because I'm hardly paying attention as I'm making this, I already forget if I've mentioned that these are not accessible in multiplayer. These cars, these AI police cars, you can't use them in multiplayer. You can in private events and single player, so that's great. They are actually usable. You can earn rep and cash with them. I checked out another server a while ago where you could get some AI cars, and you couldn't use them in any events, and it was really disappointing. So not the case here on Sparkserver. It's quickly become my favorite server to play on, and where I will be spending my time playing and recording. So we'll crash through this team escape that I have separately already made a video about in my past, but not in a super cool, you're not really supposed to have a car like this. Yeah. I don't really have much else to say about this. Again, its collision force is just fantastic. Look at those guys flying up in the air. And because I'm looking over my shoulder, I'm not driving well. Here we go. Yeah, so this one's unmarked counterpart isn't available. I believe of all the cars you would theoretically think and expect that you could get in terms of these AI cars, there's one other one that isn't accessible. Actually, two. We'll get to those when we get there. I don't want to reveal any secrets too early. I'm too busy crashing into walls to reveal secrets. Alright. You know, it's weirdly ironic playing these team escapes. I haven't actually mentioned this before, but it is weird playing these team escapes in, like, the same police cars that you're seeing in the roadblocks and is chasing you. It's kind of fun. It's interesting. It's silly. I like silly, if that isn't evident by this point. So yeah, just thinking about random things. I've got this whole series I'm doing with reviewing these cars. I'm looking at other ideas, too, for playing in this server. Sparkserver is great. I'm enjoying it, leveling up, earning a bajillion dollars, as you can see on my cash count. I think I had, after this series, another idea I might do with a friend. Might record that if I can. But my ideas are always sort of changing and all over the place. But once I've committed to an idea with a series that I have actually started, I'll see it to its conclusion. I'm not going to randomly dip out of this halfway through, so expect to see every other vehicle that donors can access in this. Let's go fly off this cliff. Whee! Okay. Behind the scenes today, recording this. For some reason, as soon as I started recording this video, I think I've tried making this one about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times now. I've been just running into various issues. I got a phone call from a car mechanic about some other thing I've got going on in real life. A text I needed to address that came through, so that interrupted a couple times. And then I've also been wrestling with some random out-of-memory game crashes on this server and disconnects and things. So it's been a little strange. I've kind of gotten halfway through this a fair amount of times at this point, but yeah, I'm kind of slightly not sure of what I've actually said and not said because I keep sort of going through the same things, but that's fine. It's worth it. I'm enjoying making this little series and just flying around in these sort of slightly unfair cars. I will tell you what, though. Starting with the next video, things are going to get weird. There's some strange stuff to point out about some of these vehicles that we're going to be touring. Also, another point while I'm driving and talking and thinking, If you have any suggestions about how I'm doing this, I am just doing this super casually. I've got kind of a formula for how I'm doing it, but none of this is very serious. I'm not putting tons of effort into it. But if any of you have a real, good solid recommendation about some changes I should make, I'm not suddenly going to do tons of edits and all that sort of thing, but if there's something I haven't considered that you think I should, give me a shout. See if, run it by me. I'm happy to incorporate little changes and things. I try to set these up so that they're consistent, simple. It's just me chatting about it. You can hear the game and everything else. So any recommendations or wildly violent complaints, have a way at it. I'm totally not going to be very upset about it. I'm not, I promise. I'm not taking any of this very seriously anyway. How can you? How old is this game? When did it come out? 2010? It's 2021 right now. It's 11 years old. I might have some of those numbers wrong. I'm pretty sure I know what year it is right now. Anyway, let's crash through the rest of these little roadblocks. We've got about 1,500 feet left. And then I will see you... Oh, I'm ending it too early. Okay. I'll see you when we're looking at our next car, except as I've said 30,000 times, I won't see you because it's a video. Anyway, see you soon. Not really. Goodbye.